Oh, well. We
Oh, well.
will.
It's real life.
Let's go live on Facebook now.
Okay, cool. Yeah.
Oh, that is just so, I don't even know. That is just
the
everything.
Best. It's the intro that we never could have made on our own.
Never,
right?
ever. Like,
never.
Here I was thinking, for episode 50, I mean, which is in a couple weeks, but, for episode 50, we should, just come up with something new, or I should at least get pay somebody to revamp and get a better intro, or not
remix it.
Bad. Yeah.
No, but just the remix.
Yeah. And
we don't need a remix.
No, because Ken just lobbed that over the plate for us. So if you don't know what we're talking about, the intro, we have a new intro now, thanks to one. Can I call him Kenny Ham?
I'm just gonna say my boy Ken Ham.
My yeah, boy Ken.
My boy Ken, who I just want to talk to. I've been tweeting at him for the entire past week, just notice me again. I was up on your screen.
Notice me, senpai.
Notice me again. I just want to talk to you without swearing. I just want to talk to you, Ken. And he hasn't replied yet.
No, he hasn't.
Because I'm just gonna be that little bug by his ear. Ken, talk to me. Please. Hey, can we be friends?
Ken,
come talk about my podcast, please. So.
And somebody made I've never really cared much for the online petition, but we've
had so many conversations. We hate online petitions, except when someone makes a petition for Ken Ham to be on our show.
Generally, I think you and I both kind of hate all things, but if it involves us, because we're not narcissistic at all, but if it involves us, we have a little bit more interest, a little bit more reason to give a shit.
A little emotional wiggle room there. I'll take it. I'll take a petition for us.
Yeah, so we have a petition going. I mean, it's not going to go anywhere because online petitions are futile. But I mean, it's a thing that somebody made for us.
It's funny.
And if you have no idea what we're talking about, go back to last week's episode and listen to that. It's we cover it. Ken Ham literally just having almost a breakdown about how we're just awful people, and this is the only thing I take issue with from that. I don't doubt that we are awful. I know me. I've known me for 33 years and change.
You're in that head. You live there. Yeah.
Right. I live here. I'm around me all the time. But the issue I have is the inconsistency. He said there's so many beeps in it that he would have to bleep things out. So already we have a flip-flop. It's either beep or bleep. You can't have both. It's one or the other. Make a commitment.
Yeah, well, the only commitment he's made is to God. So,
Right.
Yeah. All right. So we're going to have a new episode and somebody sponsored it and I'm going to tell the people.
Yeah. Who's our sponsor?
Right. So tonight's episode of the Science Enthusiast Podcast is brought to you by Nordstrom's Barracuda straight-legged jeans.
Can't laugh when we're doing this. You got one shot, one opportunity.
It doesn't matter because when you want to pay $425 for
Are you fucking kidding me?
I'm not kidding you. For here, and I quote, Americana workwear that's seen some hardworking action,
but not really,
with a crackled, kicked on muddy coating that shows you're not afraid to get down and dirty, but yet you are fucking afraid to get down and dirty because you've paid $425 for jeans without doing any of the work. No, so this is you know what this is.
Is this I saw it earlier and was like, oh, that's a thing. Is it like a thing where the mud? Oh my God, those are really $425.
They really are.
Is it a thing where the mud like washes off the first
think
time?
So. Or do you I bet you dry clean them.
Or is it like a stain? You dry clean only jeans that are designed to look like they're muddy.
These are the companion piece to the mime jeans.
They're not even like the distressed looking jeans, which I actually don't mind and may or may not own a pair of. But these are, that looks like it's like wet mud.
Yeah.
On this dude. I don't know that it's not, I guess. But like, who's
no?
First off, what kind of asshole's paying $400 for a pair of jeans? Like, if I pay more than $20 for a pair of jeans, I'm pissed at myself, more pissed at myself than I normally am. But
yeah,
I don't understand that. But I guess we should tell people about who we are. Well, hello, and thank you for listening to the Science Enthusiast Podcast. My name is Dan Broadbent, and as always, I'm joined by my brilliant friend, Natalie Newell. And then it says a few words that I assume a podcast terrorist wrote here. So we need to stop. We need to stop sharing our Google Doc with your boyfriend.
That's the last time. So God of the week.
Take a good look, because it's the last time you're going to see these.
That's the last time you're going to see a Google Doc. You got to
You got to watch the YouTube video for that visual there. There wasn't a visual.
Yeah. From now on.
That's called a tease, but you can't untease the tease, I guess.
You can't. No. All right. I'm going to tell about a God of the week.
Do it.
Like I've just gotten kind of like a little bit lazy now, and I go to my God website, and again, this is the second week in a row, I just went deity of the day, and it was, okay. All right. How would you pronounce this? It's ACAT. Is it a cat?
I don't know.
A cat?
Not.
Okay. So whatever. But anyways, what's important is this is the Mayan body art god. So like, we're just doing like a god of tattoos. And like, I'm just never sharing the link to the Google Doc again, because this is just, it's fucked up. No, I'm not doing it again. So last time, hope he enjoyed this. So anyways, the Mayans, I guess this is what I learned today, were super into tattoos. So they believed that if you had a tattoo like of a particular god on your body, that god's like godliness to you, because of course it did. So yeah, so people got tattoos. Now, like when people, got their tattoos, it of course wasn't a product of like the tattoo artist, the Mayan tattoo artist. There had to be a god that like blessed the, again, I'm ignoring the Google Doc right now. I'm just talking from my memory because it's being terrorized as we speak. But so they created this god that would sort of oversee like the tattoo needles and the ink and the tattoo artists, so that they didn't like fuck up or something. So there's this god, right? But clearly this god does not oversee the decisions people currently make when getting tattoos, because if so, there would probably be a lot fewer like, is it okay to say tramp stamp? Is that acceptable? Or
I don't think that's disparaging anybody that doesn't already know that they deserve to be disparaged. So
okay. So a cat or a cot or whatever you are going to call him, like he obviously just maybe blesses the tattoo artists, but the tattooees just make their own bad drunken decisions. So yeah. No regrets. Misspelled all over the place. But so this made me think, I want to link in our show notes, our friend of the show, Miles Power, did a really funny like blog post and video about chemistry tattoo fails. Like where people would get molecules and get like, stuff like that tattooed to their body, but obviously didn't check the design with a chemist, because so he went through and just found all these bad chemistry tattoos and corrected them on screenshots. And so he just kind of trolled these people's really bad tattoos. So we will link to that because it's pretty funny. And so that got me thinking, like people are fucking dumb sometimes. They get bad science tattoos. We need better science literacy. There was a March for Science this weekend. Oh, segue from God to
I mean,
science.
that's a segue.
It's a segue.
And that's the topic of our show.
It is. So I'm not even going to say topic of another podcast because it's the topic of this podcast. So
it is.
You went to DC.
I happen to be. Yeah,
Talk
I happen
about
to be the one in DC. And which one did you go to?
I was in Burlington, Vermont. So I was expecting. You don't know Vermont is a state.
I have no idea where. Well, I know where Vermont is, but
yeah,
I have no idea where Burlington is in Vermont.
North?
I'm guessing there's a lot of white people there.
It was all white people.
Is that wrong?
Like it was, I mean, like I'm pretty sure.
We will dive into that. That was a call forward. So we will dive into that in a little bit here. But yeah, so we both I went to the one in DC, you went to the one in wherever, Stan, Vermont.
Whatever, yeah.
And I will admit I was pretty apprehensive about going. I didn't really talk about it much on the page. Like I gave it a couple of shares, but I wasn't really all that excited about it. I'm not excited about anything ever.
Well, yeah. So why is this any different? But yes, yeah, you weren't super stoked about it. Yeah.
And I even went into it. I did a bunch of interviews. I'm going to have hopefully have a video out later this week about it. Hopefully by Thursday, if not Friday. But just talking to people that were there, just kind of seeing how they felt about various issues, GMOs, vaccines, nuclear energy, things like that. And for as much concern that I had and as much criticism that I read going into it, I was pleasantly surprised by almost everybody's responses that I talked to. And it was not at all what I expected. Everything was very positive. Everybody, everybody had very rational views on everything. Even the people who were, we'll say, uncomfortable, it was about not about the technology, but about the individuals doing it and how they're doing it and things like that, which, I mean, that's a topic of another conversation, but the actual discussion about the technology itself, like that wasn't an issue. And then of course, there's some people there that had, the pussy hats or some like Trump signs, but they were far and away the minority amount of people there doing that kind of, whatever you want to call it, partisanship and talking about those type of issues. Everybody, at least at the DC March, everybody there was just focused on science, task at hand, and everything like that. And so it was, except for the rain that happened all day in DC, it was just a really positive experience for me, and that's not at all what I was expecting. I mean, how was it in that place,
that cold, rainy place? Yeah,
Burlington.
So actually the weather was pretty shitty to start. Like as soon as we got there, it was raining and I was like, oh fuck. But then it got a little better. But now, so I wanted to know from you, and you already answered my question, how it was in DC as far as like political signs or like that kind of message. Like Vermont definitely, I mean, saw a good amount of like kind of signage and stuff that was Trump directed, like, which was not surprising, like super liberal state. Like I agree, but I definitely, I think saw more Trump related signs than I expected. I was, I guess, expecting a little bit more in the sciencey vein, but I was also, I will say one place I was pleasantly surprised is that I was stereotyping Vermont and expecting it to be a little bit more wooey, and I was expecting to see, I think, more, maybe some like anti-GMO or like that kind of stuff being presented. But other than a few people who were holding signs that said like, watch the movie Cowspiracy, like one of those kind of like propaganda-ish ones. it was like the vibe was super chill. People were positive and happy. Lots of families. That was something that made me happy. Seeing lots of kids there with their parents and like kids with their homemade signs, and like that it was just a positive, like we're here for science and reason and critical thinking and like being good to our planet and all that kind of messaging. I did though. I represented your brand with the slogan, the sign about like vaccines work, GMOs are safe, everything's a chemical. I did have one dude come up to me and he was like, "So are you trying to force vaccines on everybody?"
Yes.
And I'm like,
That's exactly what's happening. Thank you.
I
You
was
were
like,
that's such an intelligent question.
Here's my needle right now. Let me just force a vaccine on you, dude. And that
here's my needle right now. That's the topic of another podcast.
And so the funny thing is like this is as like the march is starting and we're actually walking and he's trying to have this conversation with me, and it just like it was just a weird conversation, and I kind of was just trying to be nice and talking to him, and then he's like, "Well, do you have children?" I'm like, "Yep." Like, yeah.
Now that it's any of your business.
And he's like, "Do you vaccinate them?" I was like, I wanted to be like, "Of fucking course I do," but I was just like, "Yes, I do." And then I just kind of kept walking. And yeah, it was strange because he was like, "Yeah, I know they work. I know they work, but you're trying to force them on everybody." Like, well, dude, I'm not trying to force them on people who can't like get vaccinated, but we're vaccinating people for the people who can't get vaccinated, all this stuff, whatever. But yeah, so overall, super positive, but just a couple weird interactions there because people are weird. Yeah, and it's bound to happen.
The only, I guess, negative interactions I had with anybody were people that weren't actually part of the march itself. There's just, I don't even know what it was, we'll say pro-birther that was there, and of course just trying to be in hog attention and just basically letting everybody know how awful we are, because apparently I never got a chance to talk to him. I tried to interview, but he just like, I had my camera out ready to go on the tripod. Like, I'm like waiting for him to he put his like blowhorn whatever thing down, and I was like, oh, I'm gonna ask this guy, because he kept saying like the science is pro-abortion. I don't remember exactly what it was. I recorded him saying I don't remember what it was.
Yeah.
But just kept repeating that and never really expanded on that or like explains, why. So and then afterwards, when we got to it ended at the Capitol building. There was a big sign there with a guy with a big sign that said like "expose pedos" #Pizzagate. So I talked to him. I did a live video of me talking to him.
Did he like get lost on his way somewhere else?
I think it was just happenstance that he was there. I don't think he was there too because of the Science March. He didn't talk to me at all about it. He was very focused on himself and well, not even. I asked him. I started by asking, because he was talking to two other people there, one with a "Make America Great Again" hat with an Guy Fawkes like anonymous mask like safety pin to her backpack.
Wow.
And then the guy with the big sign. I walked up to like the three of them all talking with my camera, and it was like, "Hey, I'm shooting some interviews with people. Would you like to talk to me on camera?" And they just turned and like ran away, didn't run, but walked very quickly away. And this other guy was like, "Yeah, absolutely." But start talking to him, and it's just like his tangents had tangents, and then those had tangents, and like none of it made any goddamn sense. And he said Richard Hawkins probably 5 times, not Hawkins, Stephen Hawkins, referring to Stephen like Hawking.
Oh my God.
And I was just like, you were, that's not a mispronunciation. You're like, you just are on that level. Good for you. Okay. But yeah, so that was a fun conversation that you can watch there. But going back to something that we kind of talked about at the very onset of this, we talked about people who had concerns for the March for Science. There's a lot of concern that it was going to be hijacked by what people call social justice warriors, or it would turn partisan and yada yada yada. And in particular on Slate, and I forget who it was written by. Jeremy Samuel Faust. And he, I don't know this guy. I don't know what he's written before, but bless his heart, he did not go to a science march yet. Starts it out saying, thanks to the app Periscope, I attended half a dozen of them from the comfort of my apartment, thereby minimizing my carbon footprint. Like, you are being a fucking sarcastic asshole at this point. So I already am not impressed. But essentially, he goes into just this weird, he says, being pro-science has become a bizarre cultural phenomenon in which liberals engage in public displays of self-reckoned intelligence as a kind of performance art. And to that effect, like, I don't necessarily disagree with that. It's not, it's easy for people to say, I fucking love science, or whatever, vaccines work, humans are safe, yada, yada, yada. But it's not, that's so like far removed from the actual point, and not at all what the goal is here. It's to get people talking about it, to get people active, people actually engaging in these conversations and promoting science. The way I explained it to somebody before I went, like why, I'm not in love with the idea of it, but I'm still advocating for it, and talking about the march, was if you have like a big pile of, say you got a big pile of toys and you're trying to put them in a toy box, you can either take them one at a time to the toy box, or you can just kind of slowly kind of nudge the whole pile over. And I view something like this as kind of just slowly nudging the whole pile over, getting like everybody kind of closer to, where we want to be as far as promoting, logic and reason and things like that. And I'm okay with that. I'm okay with it being a little populist. Like, I mean, obviously, if you look at my page, I'm okay with that. But I don't see how that's a bad thing to get people excited and talking about science and advocating for science and making decisions and policy based on evidence.
And the thing too is that, like, anything like this, it's not an overnight change. It's right. Getting people engaged and interested, and just finding ways to, like, hook them. And so, okay, there were all of these marches, and people turned up, and people brought their families. People behaved in mostly I would think, like, across the board, a pretty positive way. Mm-hmm. And so if this is a step in the right direction, like, I'm all for that. I mean, there's definitely things, like, in reading that article that I agree with, like, just latching on to the, like, I fucking love science idea, but then, like, having this mixture of, like, weird clickbaity bullshit and, like, calling things science when, it's a little shaky. That's one thing, but, like, I'm not going to diss the whole weekend in terms of what it did in bringing science just out there to be talked about. I mean, people turned up in the rain and, like, were there advocating for reason and critical thinking. And so, we're not going to change, like, the tide on everything. People like anti-GMO activists in Hawaii are not going to wake up tomorrow and say, oh yeah, biotechnology, like, save the papaya, like, on our, like, island. But, like, that's not going to happen tomorrow. But if this discussion can, continue, if the marches were a starting point, like, I'll take it. I'm not gonna criticize it as a movement, because it's at least something.
Right. And he seems to conflate, like, what I fucking love science does with, like, the Science March, which I know they posted about it. I don't know of any official, like, crossover that they had together. And yeah, like, the criticism of that is absolutely valid. I mean, we've kind of posted and talked about that extensively, but I mean, fuck, I even have a page dedicated to making fun of them, or not. I shouldn't say making fun. We are pointing out times that they do things that they ought not to. But
Yes.
that's not like there's that's not happening with this. And you, of course, you're going to run into situations like that. But this is just kind of an example of people never being satisfied with how you're doing activism. I mean, I know you've encountered that. Tone trolling, I've absolutely encountered that, and I mean, we've lost literally lost friends that are like also in kind of science advocacy over over our tone and how we present information to people. And the fact is, we need all these different types of voices, and I don't understand why. Like how this person who doesn't even like bother. I'm sure, I don't know where he lives. I'm sure there was a march somewhere nearby that he could have gone to and checked out and actually seen, and maybe actually talk to people, which is kind of the whole fucking point of it, is you talk to people. But I guess it's just a lot easier to sit in your apartment, look at some Twitter feeds and go, okay, well, I know what's happening here just by what somebody posts on Twitter. Yeah. I mean, you can do that.
Well, and that's why, like, today, like, after, like, I was reading the article on Slate, and then I posted on my Facebook page, like, just asking, because we share a lot of friends on Facebook, in the, like, science, secular world, whatever. So I just put a post that said, like, friends who actually attended science marches, what were your impressions? And like, what do you see as the next step in this movement? But just reading, people actually were really, really thoughtful in their responses. And it seems like people who went to these marches felt positively, like, just generally speaking. Like, I mean, some people that wrote, like, they actually spoke at marches, like Allison Bernstein. She runs the Mommy PhD Facebook page, and she's in my Science Moms film. She spoke in Atlanta. And I mean, I knew from the day, from Saturday, just watching her on social media, that it seemed like a really awesome day. We'll link to her text of her speech in our show notes, but she just said, like, the organizers were awesome. They didn't censor any topics. Like, she talked about vaccines and GMOs and alternative medicine. And like, she was able to talk about all this stuff. There were families there. It was a positive day. Like, this seems to be generally the impression that people had of their marches. Then there was Hawaii.
People who actually went.
Yeah. People who actually went to these marches, participated, all that stuff. Like, our Jeff, who's a patron and friend of the show, he was in Pittsburgh, repping, the atheists in Pittsburgh, and he had a table and stuff, and like, just seemed like the vibe was pretty good all around. And but then we got some comments from Joni Kamiya, who spoke in Hawaii.
Yeah, and I thought that was just disappointing. I mean, for those that may not be aware of Hawaii, it is a island. Some think it's a different nation, and that you need a passport. It's, I believe, in the middle of the Pacific Ocean, and I don't know anything else about it.
Yeah, it's a place. I've never been there. It looks really pretty, but you know what though? But
it has like everything. It has like you can go to the ocean. You can also like trail run or hike, and it has like everything you possibly do. Is where I want to go there so bad. So please, like, more patrons, please give us $1 so we can achieve our goals of not doing anything ever again and
going to Hawaii. We'll live there.
Hawaii. But yeah, the papaya. Almost just like went away, and through genetic engineering, they were able to basically save the papaya and save because a lot of it there. But it's kind of become this like weird like ground zero for like the anti-GMO debate, because they're now reliant, or the papaya farmers, I guess, are reliant on GE papaya, and for some reason they don't like. I don't know. I don't understand the logic behind this.
Well, I don't know that there. Well, I don't know that there is.
Could it be because
logic.
there's no logic behind it?
I don't think that there's logic, and any thought process for them is based obviously in misinformation and fear. And so Joni Kamiya, whose family runs the Kamiya papaya farm out in Hawaii, she spoke at the March for Science there. Joni had gone through the Cornell Alliance for Science program just to advocate and communicate about science and agriculture and all of that. And she put a picture on my Facebook post, essentially with, while she's speaking, people standing in front of her with signs, like, I think attacking like corporate interests in like right. GMOs and science and all of that. And I mean, this is something that, and we're going to get her on the show to do an episode with us where Joni actually can tell her story, which is, I mean, it's fascinating, and like it drives me crazy because this is actually happening, like that she receives, and her family and any advocates for biotech out there receive a lot of criticism. And so to think that a march for science, which saved a major crop in this state, is being met with like protest.
Resistance.
It's ridiculous. So this is where we kind of get to this idea of science. Like, science isn't something that you pick and choose what you like and what fits with your like personal worldview. Right?
Yeah.
Like, so, people that are at the March for Science that are, advocating against and protesting genetic engineering, like, doesn't totally make sense.
And that's not, because I heard from a few people where they had, some pushback or resistance regarding specifically GMOs. And like I said, like I can understand that. I can meet you like somewhere where, we're worried about, if we're concerned about Monsanto having, however much, I think it's like 40% of the seed market in the US. Like, if we're worried about that, like, I understand that concern. I'm slightly concerned about that, but also we have 60% that they don't have. They're that bad. Farmers aren't going to buy from them. If they have a bad product, if they have a product that's not growing, a farmer is not going to go back to them to buy that. So you're calling farmers stupid if you do go, if you honestly think they're not going to be able to get seeds from somewhere else, or don't think that they have that option available to them.
Yeah. So that's like, I'm kind of just scrolling through seeing some of the other like friends' impressions of marches and stuff. And one thing that came up in a comment that Matthew Fasciani made, is he was in South Carolina. And so he went
to a
march.
Friend of
the show, Matthew Fasciani, the good Matthew, the one that we mutually like.
Yeah.
So he said South Carolina, great group of people, and was encouraging, which awesome. But then, so here's where he had mixed feelings. And so he's in the South, right? So he said he had mixed feelings about the speeches trying to combine religion and science. And he says, I get trying to work together, as there are lots of religious scientists who can talk to their congregations about science, but it still makes me feel uneasy. And like, I feel him on that.
Mm-hmm.
Like, what do you think?
It's not the place to talk about that. I mean, what do I think about religion? Well, how much time do you have? But
all day. Like, let's just go. Hours. We have 8 hours on YouTube, something like that. Let's
right,
go.
Yeah, we have up to 8 hours of live stream, right? But yeah, it's not the place for that. Just like it's not the place. I saw, a few Trump signs, and every time I like, even my local march that, of course, I didn't actually go to myself because I was being primetime in DC, but they posted pictures of some Trump signs. Like, somebody had a Trump flag with like a in like the Russian colors with a little like hammer and sickle on it. Like, I wish they hadn't posted that, but also I guess that'd be censorship or of some kind, or somebody would be offended. But that by far was not message from anybody, and you're going to have outliers. Like any group is going to have extremists like that. It's going to have you're going to have outliers like that. So I'm not too terribly concerned about that, as long as the message, by the majority, which in my experience, I actually went to what I imagine had to be the largest march, since it was like the actual main march, the actual official, the message, the speakers before they're Bill Nye, Cara Santa Maria, I forget his name, the guy that does the Veritasium YouTube channel, and others, all very positive, all very focused on science advocacy, science, having evidence-based policy, things like that. None of, any of that kind of nonsense, about, partisan nonsense rather, about that. So you're going to, and like I said, you're going to have that when you get to these smaller cities, especially in Burlington, whatever, Stan. I'm going to have so many angry emails from our one.
All of our Vermont listeners are just going to be like, fuck you guys. We're done.
They're typing up a seething tweet right now. I can hear them furiously typing. But yeah, so the further away you get from central organization, you're going to have that kind of deviation from the message. And as long as they stay away from the kind of more social justice warrior-y stuff, because that's not, that's an important conversation to have. But when we're talking about making policies based on evidence, that's not the conversation to have. Whenever we add in things like the interview that I had near the end of the march, where they had, I don't know how many people, probably 8 or 9 people. It was actually a group from Michigan. Sign that said "Decolonize Science." I talked to her, and their whole message was science was invented and controlled by white men throughout history, and has been used against and groups at a disadvantage in their socioeconomic status. And yeah, that's true. Obviously that's happened. The same people have also benefited a lot from science. And so I feel like that's I haven't figured out the right phrase to use for it yet, or the right description, but it feels more like kind of a bullshitty type of, but actually, or but also don't forget about me, guys, and type, or I have a complaint here and I'm so smart, look at me because I'm virtue signaling over here. And I don't feel like that's coming from a genuine place. I don't feel like that complaint carries any weight, because some bad shit has been done, but that bad shit was done by bad people. The overwhelming majority of things that science has brought us have been good. Bad people are going to do bad things. It's like blaming a hammer for murdering somebody. Well, the hammer didn't do anything. The person who bashed the skull in with a hammer is the asshole that we should be angry at, and that's the person we should be protesting. But also, I'm mansplaining now at this point, I guess. So,
well, no, but I think I think good points there. And I think this is the kind of thing, though, where anytime there's a big event like this, or the desire to have a movement towards positive change, people will look to criticize it, And
that's fine. And that's fine. I have no problem with criticism.
Yeah.
That's our whole thing is that's the whole thing behind science, is constantly trying to prove itself wrong and then updating itself when we have new information. But when you're saying, she actually said to me, and this is going to be in the absolutely in the video that I post later this week, she actually says, well, scientists need active in in making, in increasing awareness and in making decisions and policy making, and it's well, that's the whole fucking point of why we're here. But you're so it's you're trying to put your feet on both sides of the issue, and then saying, well, I'm pro science, but also science has been bad. So like, I'm against science, but like I'm pro science. And it's like, you're not presenting a very genuine argument. And she was so nervous to talk to me, and I was being so friendly to her because that's the kind of environment that it was. It was a very friendly environment. I didn't want to be a dick to anybody, which is hard for me to do. I really had to try, but no, it was, I mean, she was so nervous, and I felt bad, and I didn't want to like push her too hard because she was like almost shaking, but it didn't make any sense to me. And I wish I would have had more time with her, or like even like the group of people that she was with to kind of dive into that more, because I felt that the questions I had for her and the points she was making weren't really that well supported. I even asked her just in general about anything to do with science, skepticism, any sort of policy, anything outside of like the cause that they were there to represent, like just about her personal feelings about what something that this kind of digs at her, bothers her. Like to me, I'd have to say like anti-vaxxers like really like piss me off. And, outside of that, obviously religion, she had nothing. She had nothing. It was well, the white people basically. That's like bad paraphrasing, but it just didn't feel like it was genuine. It didn't feel like there was much thought behind it other than I should feel bad about what science has done to some people. And I don't know.
Not a well-substantiated argument, but felt that there needed to be an argument, but just didn't have the legs to it. And and that's just like the way that some people, I think, approach life. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Now, like the march happened, right? So and I think overall the attitude towards it, the experience people had at it or at them, the marches, was positive. So then for me, the question surrounding something like this always is, well, what's next? Or how, like, is there a way to capture momentum and like, and all of that? So
sandwich, and I love it.
So like, what do you think? What do you think?
Well, I mean, it's I shouldn't say every city. I know my city, we have a organization here. It's called Central Indiana Science Outreach, or CINSO. And, that groups like that, like on the local level, you have to promote them and have to get involved with them, or CFI, or, you can even just go on like meetup.com, or, whatever websites there are out there to, you can start a group if there's not one. I mean, just hang out with people. You can just start your own club, start like, even like amongst your friends, you can start a group where you just talk about, science, skepticism, or just whatever, but just keep the conversation going is the important thing. And that's another concern that we had before. And I think, they're doing the March for Science crew, I think they're doing a good job now with keeping that going and trying to encourage that, because I think they're still having or they're calling it this week like the week of action. And I'm on their website now, and even has things to do and sign this, go to this website, check this out, and continue involvement. And they even have other links to other ways to get involved there. So I think that's really what matters, what's important, and what the entire goal was, is to get people excited about it, get people talking about it, and get people to get active in whatever capacity they can, as maybe start a blog, maybe start a group, or maybe just follow more blogs and just read a couple more science articles a week. I mean, whatever it is, I mean, that's a net positive. Like, how can anybody complain with that? We have people at least they're interested in it, as opposed to beforehand where they maybe didn't care or just would read a clickbaity type headline that we've cured cancer this week for like the 500th time, and it ends up being bullshit because it was a trial study or some other type of nonsense, or one of the 107 that got unpublished. But again, topic of another podcast I will try to cover next week, since that's the story that broke today.
So I guess for me, what I would add to that based on what I observed myself, like at, in Vermont at the march I attended, but then the feedback that other people have given, just, like friends on my post and stuff, is that I think it turned into a little bit more than people expected, an actual like sort of family event where people were sharing this idea of science and critical thinking with their kids. And so I think this is not just an idea for us to embrace as adults, but I think it's important for us to remember that we are kind of responsible for raising the next generation of critical thinkers to do better. I mean, this, current world that elected Donald Trump as president, but I won't.
No, there's not much to.
No, we can only go up from here. But I do, but I do think that it's something to remember. Like somebody on my post wrote just a really nice comment that like she had her daughter with her at the DC march. And, she gets that there's criticism, whatever. But she wrote, "My daughter was in total awe of the real life scientists speaking on the stage. All the naysayers should try viewing the march from a child's eyes." So let's end it on that. Think positively
or even show up in the first place.
Yeah.
It's like literally you're being an armchair activist.
Yeah. So Science March. Supported that and continues to support critical thinking. So you're part of the solution, not part of the problem.
Not part
right?
of the precipitate. Oh,
yeah.
Oh, it's funny.
All right. So why do we love the internet this week?
Well, we gotta do in post. We're gonna add the music. Mm-hmm. Should we do music? I don't think so. This is all kind of flowing.
Yeah,
I want to bring it up.
We're flowing.
People like the music. You wouldn't believe the amount of feedback I get on the music. It says it's the best. It's the greatest. It's the best.
Bigly.
This week, the reason we love the internet is I don't know why we haven't done this one sooner.
Me neither. I don't know either. And like Nathan mentioned it. Like what was that? Last week or something. Then we ended up loving the internet because Ken Ham made us love our lives and the internet. So I shelved
the one time I've ever loved in my life.
Yeah, I shelved classical art memes for this week. So now we're finally talking about it. But like I save these to my phone on a regular basis because they're just so fucking good. And whoever thought of this is a genius, and I wish I was them. So everyone who's listening knows classical art memes. Like, can you imagine somebody listening to this and they don't know? Yeah,
even if you've seen any sort of classical art with meme text on it, it's safe to assume it came from this page because they post so often and almost every time are very on point.
Like I know, like it's one of those that just they rarely miss. And so it's just it's so good. Like I'm just all right. I'm scrolling.
Like Jesus with the apostles. It's Jesus standing on one side, the apostles standing on the other, and they're just all saying "sup" to one another.
Yeah, like, I love that one.
And that has 30,000 shares. That's amazing.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Well, because that's the thing. It's like everybody fucking follows us. Oh, so then here's another Jesus one, and it's like he's coming out of the tomb or whatever, and it says, "When you passed out during pregame, but show up at the party later." And it's just like, he's like, "Hey, I'm here."
He's like,
Jesus.
"Hey."
That's it. Oh, okay. Here's one of a family. It's like a mom holding a baby, but yet the baby looks like it's fucking like 50 years old in the face. But then there's just all kids around or something. And it says, "When the family photo comes out beautifully, but you're all very apathetic about what the future holds," because then it like zooms in on the faces and they all just look like, meh, as people did in classical art photos. But seriously, the baby looks like it's got the face of like a 50-year-old. Oh, I love it. And like the thing is too, whenever I go to classical art memes, it's like all of our friends like follow and like these posts. Cause like, here's one I've like, it's Jesus again, and it's coming out of my cave, and I've been doing just fine, like the Killer song, but I see that Emily has liked it. Buck has liked it. Oh, I tagged Matt O'Neill in it because I thought he should share it for God's sake. So this is just the meme page that everybody follows.
And half and of course half the charm is that some of these are just really random and weird. Like it's a mother like sewing, and then like a 3-year-old like learning to sew, and the mother's like watching her, and it's like, well, that's a good picture, but like somebody spent like a lot of time like painting that like originally.
Yep.
And I'm probably gonna have the all the art critics mad at me because we have a huge art critic following. I don't know if you knew that, Natalie.
It's our biggest demographic. Art critics that live in Vermont, right. I think. Right. The Vermont art critics are just they're unfollowing us after this. So go drown your sorrows in maple
the kid
syrup.
says, "Mommy." Yeah. The kid says, "Mommy, am I your best friend?" And the mother says, "No, LOL. My friends are cool." Like, but like, it's just works on so many levels.
Do you want to pick one to end it on?
I don't have one to end it on.
Yeah, because I mean, I'm just scrolling. Oh, well, okay, you do it.
Got like a couple like together. Obviously, they are. He's like, looks like he's trying to like either kiss her or eat her eyeball. I'm not sure which one. Why not both? It says, "Are you an archaeologist? Because I have a bone for you to examine." And she responds, "Sorry, I leave my microscope at the lab."
Ooh, science.
So that's a good
zinger.
That's a good burn. Speaking
that's
of
a good burn.
Good burns, if you have too much money and you like giving people money, why not give us money at patreon.com/TSE podcast, and you can get access to like all sorts of stuff. I mean, Natalie says stuff, I say stuff, we post stuff.
Yeah, we say
things
stuff.
happen.
Mm-hmm. Stuff. It's all for stuff.
But if you don't want to like see that extra stuff
Get
that we say,
stuff.
And I mean, you don't have to. It'd be really cool if you just told your friends about us, and because that's how we grow. That's how we get more listeners. It's how we keep doing this, and we keep the lights on around here. I mean, not in danger of getting evicted from my home, but I mean, you can't prove I'm not, I guess. But if you want to be cool, just like Michael and Trevor and Nathan and Alice and Cynthia and Michael and Magnus and Sav Hannah, Felix, Amanda, Chris, James, Sarah, and Josue, we would be incredibly grateful. You could also check out all our episodes at ScienceEnthusiastPodcast.com. Follow us on Facebook, Twitter, Angry Tweets at NC Newell. And did I hit everything? I don't know. I was just kind of...
I think you hit it all.
Podcast
right?
at ScienceEnthusiast.com for your hate mail. There we go. See?
Yeah,
why do I even write things down? Why don't you hit us with a quote?
I don't know, because... All right. Let's close it out.
This train wreck.
Yeah. Extinction is the rule. Survival is the exception. Carl Sagan. That worked for the March for Science. That, our podcast terrorist put that on his sign. People liked it because everyone likes Carl Sagan.
And everybody likes extinction. Wait, what?
Yeah. What? No. All right. So next week,
that's not how that works.
Come back and listen to us, because you won't just have to listen to us next week.
Or don't. You have full body autonomy as far as what you put in your head.
What would it be for auditory autonomy? Is that
I don't
a thing?
know that it's not.
So it'll just make it a thing. So next week we will have our interview with Neil Carter. Awesome interview. So you guys should come back and check it out. Maybe or not. But he's really good. No, you're not their dad. I'm not their mom.
If you did the interview, you can check it out on YouTube already. It was a really good talk.
It was a really good talk. It was really good. And actually, next week I think is going to be like podcast week, because he's going to be on the For God's Sake podcast too, because he recorded an interview with Matt. So Neil Carter is just going to be in everybody's ear holes.
All right.
So we'll end on that.
Innuendo. But we are going to continue our little conversation here for a few minutes over on YouTube. If you are watching us on Facebook right now, go to the caption and click the link after it says watch the full video at and then has like a bunch of letters that look like they've been jumbled together. So thank you for watching on Facebook, all 15,000 of you.
Why do people watch us?
I don't fucking know.
Question, isn't it?
I don't know. People kept talking. Like, I don't know what the thing is with shoes, but people kept telling you to put a shoe on your head, and they were complimenting you on your hair combing. I banned probably 20 people as we were doing that.
Really?
Oh. Yeah. People are...
Why do people comment? Like, why?
I don't know. It's so specific as to shoes. And I checked on we just recently crested over 100 subscribers on YouTube, but people don't really comment on YouTube. And it's like that would be the place to go, I would think, if you're going to spam comments, because I don't look at that at all.
Because now I'm looking, okay, is oyster a gender? Clams gender? Shoe on head?
Oh, I know. If you refresh it, those will all be gone because I banned all those idiots. But there's one comment here. I know I saw a few other people make comments, and I even put a couple links on here, and I don't know what happened to them. I don't see them anymore for some reason. It says 150 comments on the YouTube, on the Facebook share, but one comment from Wesley says, activism has nothing to do with science.
Oh, I saw that. Yeah. Huh?
I don't.
What? I
don't understand what's being said there.
Yeah. That's no. I mean, have to be active? Like,
apparently not.
No?
Science takes care of itself, I guess. What he's saying.
Well, I'm sure there's no need for like critical thinking or anything like that anymore, is there? No.
No. Wesley solved it for us here by letting us know you don't have to advocate for anything ever. You can just let it go. It'll be fine. Nothing bad has ever happened from a company or any sort of new technology just letting the media run rampant with it and distort it and twist facts and fearmonger, like nothing at all.
Oh God, no.
Also had a fail on the because I showed the Slate article on the share, and I set up the, I don't know if I can copy it here. I set up the actual display thing, whatever, and did not set up the audio on it. So whenever I changed the scene, you only saw the screen. You did not see.
Oh, so that's why. Because Matt was sending me messages like, I'm seeing a screen, or something. I'm like, I'm not. So
that's my bad, yo. So win some, you lose some, I guess, or maybe you just always lose. Like, I don't know.
We always lose. Let's be honest. We always lose. Oh. All right. Well, that was I'm enjoying doing these where we just talk sometimes. You know?
I mean, I enjoy talking. I enjoy being talked at. So I don't see how it's bad.
No, it's not bad. People watch and listen.
Yeah, like 15,000 people watch and listen for some reason.
Oh, that's weird.
Again, why is beyond me.
I know. Can you believe we've done 48 episodes though? Like,
oh, I can. I've been here for all of them.
Well, yeah, me too. Sorry. Sorry. Episode 50 will just be us being like, we are really fucking sorry, guys. We're really sorry.
Yeah.
I don't know why we did this to all of you. Yeah.
I don't know why 150,000 of you have downloaded our podcast.
I don't know. It's weird. People are weird. People like
Yeah.
punishing themselves, and
Yeah, we're over 20,000 downloads a month now.
awesome. Oh, so Rob Sharkey sent me a message saying that, you know, that episode I did of his show about Cargill and like all that, 10,000 downloads of that episode.
Maybe that's where a large influx of listeners came from last week.
Oh,
Was that one day
because
we
yeah,
had
people. I wonder.
like 2,000 downloads in one day, which is a lot more than it's. I mean, that's about 25% more than normal.
And then it's like it's just such a small world, because I was on that Podunk Polymath podcast too, and I mentioned Jeff in that episode, Jeff, Pittsburgh atheist Jeff, and then like somebody commented, like wrote a message to him on Facebook saying like, I heard your name in a podcast, and then I think she probably went and listened to like our podcast, and it's all very circle jerky. All this stuff.
I don't see anything wrong with the good old fashioned circle jerk though.
There's nothing wrong with a good old fashioned circle jerk. Quote me on that. Don't.
We needed an outtake for this episode because there were no cuts in it. I'm going to be able to just like post this and go.
That's awesome.
But yeah, oh my God, it's already 10 o'clock.
It's 10. We need to wrap this up.
Wrap it up.
Wrap it up. Wrap it up. Thanks everybody for watching. This has been another week.
Sorry. I've not had a chance to like relax since Friday, since I got on the plane Friday to fly to DC. So
we've both been really fucking busy lately.
I know. I hate it, but like I'm addicted to it. Yeah. So like it's my own damn fault.
I know.
I was even like, you're trying to hang up, and I'm like, no, you're not going to hang up. I'm not going to let you.
You're never going to hang up on me. I know. But I think my track is done. Yeah, it is. All right. This was fun.
Yeah. Thanks guys for watching.
Good night. Bye.